what's going on, guys? Back again, once again, to review a new movie. Me and Scarp have been doing some of these new movie reviews. Um, a little late on this one. Movie The Nun 2, we are here to review. Just came out this past Thursday night. Normally we'll have these out by Friday, but we've been a little busy, so um, yeah, I figured we put this out because you know, I'm a big fan of the Conjuring movies, and not like I'm not a die-hard fan, but I love James Wan. I love his universe that he's created with all these, um, and yeah, man. If as always, make sure you guys hit that like, subscribe, hit that bell notification, because me and Scarpad are always putting out new content, and we've been doing some James Bond movie reviews. First time me watching those. We got some Star Trek stuff coming because it's the first time you watching that. And as always, we got the Saturday show, 9 p.m. Eastern, and it's Horror Fest, baby. So yeah, we got some good stuff coming. But like I said, we are here tonight to review The Nun 2. Got my little creepy nun figure put to the side. And Scarpad's got his with the
A little different
creepy
mouth
ass
there.
mouth. Yeah, she
Yeah.
got two. She came with two different mouthpieces.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to get the other one. You're gonna have to get this one because I like both of them actually.
Yeah, they're both good. They're both nice. Yeah.
Sometimes we get one side by side would look good. Would
Right.
look
Yeah,
cool.
definitely.
Like get
Definitely.
a couple on a couple bookends on each side. Look
Yeah, these
awesome.
are cool, man. Like you said, I like these boxes too. I like these because
Yeah.
I
Well, and you know what's nice
nice.
about these boxes too? These are real easy to slip the figure out of. So all you gotta do is just slip the tape a little bit. The figure comes
Yeah.
right out. And then you can put them right back in. So it's not like the
Right.
other ones where you can't display them. You can. You can
Oh,
take them out
really?
of the box and display them
And
pretty
they're
easily.
easy to just display because I have another. I only have two with this type of box. The
Yeah.
rest are obviously
Yeah, they do
behind.
the superhero ones like that too, and I love these
Yeah,
boxes.
I like those boxes though. Those are nice. But
Absolutely.
yeah, so for the Nun 2, we get Thaisa Vera Farmiga's sister, who's also the main star in the Conjuring movies. Um, we get her leading this movie, which I was really excited for because I'm a big fan of American Horror Story, and is in she's been in, I'd say, if not all the seasons, majority, and she was in the first season, American Horror
Yeah.
Story, Murder House, which is my favorite season of all of them, and I think everyone talks about, I got my Jenna Ortega shirt, everyone talks about her and Mia Goth, but I never hear really anybody talk about Taissa Farmiga, or, and she is great, man. She's done, like I said, she's done a good amount of horror as well. Yeah, I'd say most of it comes from American Horror Story, and now with the
Yeah,
nun.
I didn't even know she was. I called you and I said, is this girl related to the other girl?
Yeah.
Because she looks an awful lot like her. I
Hmm.
thought maybe it was her
Yeah.
sister, but I guess I mean her. I thought maybe it was a daughter
Daughter.
because
Yeah.
Vera Farmiga
Yep.
is kind of old. But I guess this girl is about 28 or something like that. So
Yes,
it
she's
fits.
my age. She's 29. She's
She
born
doesn't
in
look it though.
'94.
She's perfect for the role because she looks like she's like 20.
She is fantastic. I I'm gonna sit. We're here to review the Nun too, but I gotta throw a little, talk about the Nun, the first one. Um, when we got The Conjuring 2, that is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Conjuring universe movies. The Nun was introduced into that kind of like how Annabelle was introduced in the first Conjuring. They rushed out with after the first Conjuring, gave us an Annabelle solo movie, didn't do very well. Money wise, I'm sure it did well, but not a lot of people liked it, me including. Then it got a sequel, Annabelle Creation. People love that one. I love that one as well. I do think the first one is good, but it is one of the weaker Conjuring movies. Um, and same thing with The Nun. After The Conjuring 2, people went nuts over The Nun because she looks so creepy, so scary, and they rushed out like a year or two later and put out the Nun movie. People didn't really care for it. Some people love it. Some people weren't such a fan. I was in the middle with it. I thought it had great atmosphere. I did like Father Burke. I wasn't insane about him, but I was mostly there for Frenchie and Thaisa, um, and obviously the Nun. Um, but then they took a little breather, and they came back with the Nun 2, and I was hoping maybe it'll be another Annabelle creation, and it's going to be a lot better. And I'm happy to say I think they did a lot better with this one. They get rid of Father Burke, which, not to say I didn't like him, I just felt that
Spoilers, by the way.
they were nervous. Well, this is spoiler
Yeah,
review.
spoiler review. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah, spoiler review. So if not, but it's not some huge thing. If you look up the credits, you're gonna if you look up the IMDb, you're gonna see
He's not in it.
But I think freaking what was I gonna say, man? The I think they utilized the Nun a whole lot better, and I think they were nervous with the first one maybe to give Taissa the first movie as a lead to herself, because she'd mostly done like American Horror Story and she wasn't leading those shows. So I think once they saw how much people loved her in the first one, because even if you like the movie or not, you cannot deny she was great in the first movie. I think they're like, okay, this girl can lead this movie. So they because they don't really you don't know. Well, they say what he dies of. I didn't really understand what they
The
said.
father?
Yeah.
Yeah, they said he died of cholera. He became the bishop, and then he died of cholera. So like a natural death, really.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't know what that meant. What
cholera is like a it's like a plague, like an infection. And if you get it, you usually get sick and die from it.
And he was like one of those.
Back then,
I forget what they call it in the first one, but he was basically like an exorcism type, priest. That's what he went around, and he was like, I'm here to make sure the grounds are still holy and everything. I forget the word they use, like
consecrated or whatever. Yeah.
But I was really happy that they let her kind of lead this, because I did like him, but I don't think I just wasn't that crazy about him.
Yeah, I'm glad he wasn't in the second one.
The first one had great atmosphere, great scenes. I know you mentioned like the cemetery scene, but this one I was so excited because they actually utilized the Nun so much more in this movie. Like actually her, because she's a demon, so we know that she can turn into so many other things. That's what they say. They're like, she is a demon. She could turn herself into anything, but she turns herself into the most blasphemous, unholy thing.
Right, because she's a fallen angel, so she wants to appear as like the thing she can't be.
Well, that's another thing they get into, that she's a fallen angel, and that's why she's trying to get a hold of these. Because we find out that it opened. I heard some people say that they liked the opening of the first one a little bit better. I did really enjoy the opening of this, but the opening in the first one is really great. I love how it opens with the father, and the kid, the father and the little kid, and
taking
holy
the
water
mass
starts like evaporating, and then you just see like dark corner, and you just see it's like her face slightly appearing. I think they utilized her so well in this, man.
The scene, I was just gonna say the scene where the water evaporates reminded me of the end of the first movie, where all the water in the thing that they're drowning in evaporates and goes down the thing.
Oh,
it was kind of similar to that.
Yeah. But and then he kind of gets thrown up in this cross figure, and this priest gets burnt alive right in front of this little kid, which I wasn't sure if the kid was gonna get killed too, but all you see is her eyes just light up yellow. And then we see at this point, I didn't know, because I'm gonna say I saw this movie 2 nights in a row. I went to see it Saturday night, and then I saw it Sunday night I went to see it Saturday with my girl, and then I saw it Sunday with my my mom and my sister and my brothers. And I was super excited because me and my family saw it the first time as a whole family. So I was excited to see it with them. And that's how much I liked this, because I wanted to see it twice, and I liked it even more on the second watch, because I was able to pick up some of those little things.
Yeah, I think it needs 2 watches.
Yeah, because there's some things about like about what they're investigating, and these eyes, and this angel, or this this I forget the name of her, but the patron saint that lost her eye, that got her eyes.
Supposedly the eyes were cut out of the patron saint and dispersed through different areas. So the eyes went to the monastery where Frenchie was, the eyes weren't there.
Well, what got dispersed was her family. Her
Right.
family dispersed across all around the world. So that's what we figure out, that she still has descendants out there, and that's what this nun is doing. She's going around trying to kill off her descendants. And what is it? Then they figure that the nun is looking for these eyes that, like you said, ended up in some monastery, monk place that is now the school where
Right.
Frenchie is hanging out at, because the nun is going around trying
Well,
to find these eyes.
I think he's like the groundskeeper there.
Yeah, he's like the groundskeeper.
So he's not just scoping out little girls. He's
If
actually
you
working.
notice, after the opening, the opening after the priest gets killed, and you see a guy walking down the street, and you see her shadow behind. That's
Frenchie.
That's Frenchie walking, because
Right.
remember the nun says we had somebody that, like, we had like a janitor or something. He left right after the priest,
Right.
and then she's like, "Oh my God!" Then they figure out that was Frenchie, and he moved there. But the one thing that I was a little upset about, because in the first Nun movie, they show, this is how you know that Frenchie is possessed, because they show him and they show the connection between Frenchie and the first Conjuring movie and the Warrens doing an exorcism on him.
Right.
So I figure if this movie takes place in like the 50s, he's not going to die by the end of the Nun too. So that was a little bit, I wish they kind of held back on that little part. I know it was a cool connection to know that, like, you know what I mean, that he was like one of these people that the Warrens give an exorcism to, but it kind of made it feel a little safe for Frenchie. But I did really enjoy Frenchie and Tyus in this, and I love that scene when that little delivery boy or girl, I didn't know if that was a boy or a girl, when that delivery kid brings in the thing and he's like, "Monsieur," and Frenchie's just sitting over there, because he's kind of going in and out of possession. He doesn't know what's happening. They keep catching him in corners, just going like,
just or just standing there.
And you see the nun kind of peeking out over, like, wrap her hand around, and then the kid starts running, and you see the nun just in the back of a hallway, and the room goes red, and she just comes up, and this is a little kid. She snaps the kid, lifts him up, snaps his neck, and blood just starts draining. I was like, damn, man, no one's safe, because I was like, holy shit, they kill a priest and then they kill a little kid. I thought they were really going for it with this, man. What was some of the things, though, what did you think about this movie? Because I know I've been talking the last like 15 minutes.
Well, I've only seen the first Conjuring movie. I haven't seen any of the ones, so I didn't know anything.
You're gonna have to watch the second one, bro.
I didn't know anything about the Nun, but really, when I watched the first Nun movie, you didn't really need to know that much. It was its own self-contained story, really.
It's a prequel to all the
time. I'm not, and everybody will know, I've said it before, I'm not a huge fan of movies that require or have a lot of jump scares, because I think a lot of movies that don't have a script, jump scares are just a cheap gimmick to elicit horror. But
I've heard a lot of people say that they're like,
and really this
jump scares, and you don't really need a script. You write your script around the jump scares.
The Nun 2 has a lot more jump scares than the Nun 1 did. They use them a little bit more restrained. Nun 2 has a lot more. But I think the difference for me is the Nun 2 and the Nun 1 have a good script. They have a good story, so it doesn't bother me as much when they have the jump scares. And especially since they back it up a little bit more in the second one than they did the first. So if you can back up your jump scares and have a good story, it's okay to have jump scares. Yeah. And I really like the fact that they world build quite a bit in the two movies. And really the first half of the first one is all world building to get you to know what's going on with this father, the nun, and Frenchie. And then you start getting into the more of the nun stuff. Now the second one, because they pulled it back, and I'm glad, as you said, that they pulled it back to these two characters, Irene, the sister, and Frenchie, because they're the two most interesting people in the movie.
Yeah.
And I almost wish at some point, but you can't because he's possessed. I would love to see Frenchie kind of with the nun, but I understand he's the possession part, so he can't. So they bring in this girl who has lost her faith to be her like sidekick, to come with her. And and because I think the priest wants somebody to go with this nun because she performed a miracle before, but they're still unsure of her. So she's okay, but she's not the best character in the movie. But she's there so that
She would have been my weakest character,
yeah,
and
but
I
she's
usually
there.
like her in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, but she's there to get her faith at the end, so that
Yeah.
would help to kill the
Mhm.
thing. And I looked it up, and it is the whole idea. In the first movie, it was they had an actual vial of the blood of Christ, which was
Right.
used to defeat the nun.
Yeah.
In this movie, they have the words of the documents that they read, and because the priests that were in this monastery made wine, there's a ton of wine all around them in the basement here. That those words consecrate the wine and turn it into the blood of Christ, which ultimately is what kills the nun again.
Mhm.
So in both
That's
movies,
how-
it's the blood of Christ destroying the nun, but they're using different methods of getting to it. And that's an interesting thing too. And I'm sure they'll come up with something in the third movie that is going to, but I hope they make it a little bit more than that, because it would get repetitive.
Yeah.
And just bring the blood of Christ. As soon as you see it, throw it on it, movie over with.
I thought it
Like-
was a little weird too how like all the barrels explode because it's like, why did that happen? You know what I mean? Like
right,
they
exactly.
explode
Well,
from the side. So otherwise, it's
because
like,
of psychic religious shit.
yeah,
At the right time they explode. But no, I like this movie. I like the characters. I like this one. I think notches up the scares a little bit more than the first one did. My favorite scene in the first movie is the scene where the priest gets trapped in the casket,
ringing the bell and everything.
ringing the bell, and the thing's in it with him, and she's coming out, and how she was able to find him. Okay, but that was a good scene. And
Yeah,
in this
great
movie,
scene.
this movie has a lot more of scenes of the scares. You see more of the nun.
Yeah.
You see that goat creature, which I guess I slept through. But I remember seeing him once in the movie.
Yeah.
Uh,
he was scary,
but
man.
yeah, definitely. I think maybe the only thing I would knock this movie to, and you said it yourself, is the fact that you almost have to see it twice because they slip so much in whenever the shit is going on around them that you don't pick up a lot of these things are important.
I picked up the gist of it, but then like
Yeah.
because it's a lot of religious stuff. So some of these
Right.
things that they're saying, I'm like, I don't know what that is. So you know what I mean?
Right.
So then the second time I was like, oh, okay. There was just a few things because there's a few things too that like it could be you could take 10 minutes off this movie because like there's the nuns telling the story about the first one and
Right.
like and Thais is just listening.
Yeah, they almost
You don't really
recapped
need
the movie
that.
twice. They almost recapped it twice.
And then they're like after that little kid gets his neck snapped and like the red scene, and then you see like a kind of a bigger nun like go and turn a generator on, and I'm like,
right.
what is that for? That has nothing to do with the story. Like that could have
Yeah.
there's a few things that could have got cut.
I agree.
And it
I
felt
think-
like
I
they were
think-
trying to remind you what happened in the first one. There's a
Yeah,
couple flashbacks
and
between-
they do that in a lot of these movies, and they have to because a lot of
Yeah.
people didn't see the first one. They see the second one.
which is so weird. But I think there was some flashbacks between because my girl was like, "Why does Frenchie look different?" Between like the flashbacks of him and Thaisa, like when he's saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna go here," but I honestly think that could have been a scene for the ending of The Nun that they cut and just kind of slipped it into this because he does look maybe a little young, but he has like a full beard in this where I think he's kind of like more like just kind of you could tell he's going through it at this point, but he's trying to hold it together, even though he kind of doesn't know what's going on. But he's definitely something's up with him because he has a demon possessing him. But I think the
Yeah,
story was very straightforward in this.
Some really good back and forth too between Frenchie, the battle between Frenchie and the nun, and
Yeah,
going back,
because you don't.
kind of goes back ways.
Yeah,
either way it
the
could
whole
go.
movie, they're
You know.
it goes back and forth between the school where Frenchie's at and everything's going on, and then they're just kind of following the trails and
Right.
trying to investigate, and then they have to find where Frenchie is and you know what I mean? They have no idea where he's at, and then they finally figure out where they think the eyes are, and they're like, well, that must be where the nun is going next.
Right.
And then they go there, and she, because
Yeah, in
she
fact,
has
they go to Sweden they go from France to Sweden. Sweden is where they find out. No, from Italy to Sweden to France, because Sweden is where they find out about the eyes. That's a whole different country. Remember, they
Yeah,
took the
because they
train
go to
and then
that
right,
librarian guy.
right,
You go to the
right.
library. That was the scene that really kind of put a few on my second watch. I could really picked up everything, but for some reason that scene in the with the librarian, I didn't remember the first time. And then everything he said to her about like uh the descendants being like kind of dispersing and going all around the world,
Right.
and because they go and look for that little symbol that's on the back of the crucifix of the first priest that's burnt alive. And then he's talking about like why, because I was like I thought they were going to get into the backstory of the nun and how she was a fallen angel, and then that librarian is the one who says, I think that she was that she was an angel at one point, and that's why she's trying to get a hold of these eyes so that she can get some of her angelic powers back. So that was something that I feel like I
Right.
missed the first time, but I just might have like closed my eyes for a second because I don't know. But I watched this
Well,
two
that
days
is the one good
ago.
thing about jump scares, though. Is even if you're sleeping, a jump scare will wake you the fuck up,
Yes,
man. You
because
jump right out of
even
your
jump
seat.
scares don't get me, but it's even though like I don't jump, you almost like your heart kind of jumps. You know what I mean? Because
Mm,
it's the music. Even if you
yeah.
like, okay, I know a jump scare's coming. The music is what excites you. Even if like, because I never jump, but it's like the music is what makes my kind of heart jump a little. You know what I mean? You ever get that where even if you don't jump, the music is what kind of just
Well,
like
you
dials
went,
your heart,
right.
elevates your heart rate.
You went with your girlfriend. You went with your mother and stuff. Did any of them jump? Were they jumping?
My girl was jumping. My little sister, who she's about 14 now, she
Uh,
was jumping too. And I was sitting right next to her, and I kept laughing. And yeah,
did
it
you
was
put your
funny.
hand up and grab her every now and then?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I mess with them. There was
That's what I do
one
with my
scene,
mom.
man, I forget, man. Yeah, but yeah, it was good. One scene though I really, really liked, man, because this is directed by Michael Chavez, the guy who directed Curse of La Llorona, which it's okay. It has some creepy stuff, but it's probably the weakest to me of all the Conjuring movies. He also directed The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It, which I like, but
That's and what they said is the end scene, the post credit scene came from
it's
that
from
movie.
that. Yeah, I
Right.
would say this is the best movie that Michael Chavez has done, The Nun 2. And yeah, the what was it that I was gonna say? Freaking this was um this was what the hell? But yeah, Michael Chavez did this, and he's done 3 other movies, and I would definitely say this is the best one because normally it's like James Wan and Gary Dauberman has done a few of the scripts for a lot of the Conjuring movies, and directed like I think he's directed all 3 of the Annabelle movies, which he's also directing the new upcoming Salem's Lot movie if we ever actually get it. Um, but yeah, I really ended up enjoying this movie, and freaking on my second watch, I liked it even better than I thought because I was kind of at it like a 6-8, and then after my second watch, I was like, man, dude, they just utilized the nun so well in
Mm.
this. Well, I was like a
Right.
7 my first watch almost.
Right. Well, I wonder though. I mean, right? Obviously, I've never seen the Nun Part One, so before I
Oh
went to
yeah,
Nun Part Two, I watched it. That's why I was. I'm
you
wondering
gotta
how
watch The
different.
Conjuring too.
I wonder how different it would have been though if I had watched how I would feel about the movie, and you could tell me how that affect you. I mean, this movie came out what 2017, The Nun. So you're
Yeah,
talking like
2018.
2000. Okay, so you're talking basically 5 years between movies. That's a while. So
Yeah.
do you think this movie lived up to the 5 year wait? And I think it was a lot better. I think it was definitely a better movie. Was it 5 years better for you?
Um, I think they waited the appropriate time because
You think so? Yeah.
I think that they rushed with the first one, and
Yeah.
I think they're kind of struggling on what to do with the nun and like what to give because in The Conjuring they have a few The Conjuring 2, they have a few other things going on, and she's kind of like, they make her like a side thing, like she's not the main.
Right.
She's like a main, like they have a few things going on in the story. So
Yeah, I kind of have the feeling maybe originally it wasn't the idea to stay with this group of characters, but I'm kind of glad they did.
yeah,
Stay with this group
especially
of characters.
Titus, man.
Yeah, and I think they definitely should be staying with them throughout. If they
Yeah.
do another one.
Well, I think even if yeah, I really enjoyed Titus in this, and Frenchie did a bang up job.
Now
And
the question is, when do we get the Nun Annabelle team up?
yeah, right. Yeah, I don't
Tell
know.
me what's the other guy's name? The Crooked Man. I don't even know
Crooked.
who
He's
is he?
in
I don't know who
Conjuring
he is.
too. He's in the
So,
Conjuring too. You gotta
If
watch
they
the
get
Conjuring
him,
too.
all right. I
He
plan
was
to go
supposed to
back.
get his. He was supposed to get a solo movie as well.
Yeah, it's somebody did a video. I see a link for. They said is the Conjuring universe right now the only successful universe, and maybe it is that and Saw.
Like people say, it has not everybody. Like some of the movies might not have the highest ratings, but it's the most successful horror universe in ever.
Right. What year did the Conjuring come out? The first one.
I'd say that came out 2013.
Oh, it's okay. So
I remember it's so much hype for that movie, and I always thought it was decent. I never loved the first Conjuring. I like
and I was surprised you said that this was Warner Brothers, right?
Yeah.
Here they took 2013. They set up a Conjuring universe, and now basically 8-9 years later they have a huge universe, but yet they didn't do that with fucking superheroes. They just threw them in fast. Justice League overnight. It takes a while to build a universe.
Because of James Wan that this happened.
Right.
It's only because of James Wan. Otherwise, and because probably Warner Brothers, I probably has some type of deal with him, honestly, because I think he did Malignant as well. I don't have the Malignant Blu-ray or 4K. That's one I gotta pick up, but that's on HBO Max.
That's not connected to this universe.
No. But I think James Wan definitely works closely because what is it? Warner Brothers is also DC, and he's done Aquaman.
Right.
So he definitely has some ties.
But it takes stuff. He takes away. And the interesting thing is a lot of these stories. I noticed that James Wan has a lot of input. So he has screenwriters that do the actual. Yeah, they have screenwriters that write the actual screenplay for the movie. But he gives them the notes and where this is gonna go.
James Wan has done the Saw universe, he's done the Insidious universe, and now he has the Conjuring universe. You know what I mean? So it's like this guy. And when the first Conjuring movie came out, that was heavily advertised as based on true things that happened. They had the real ladies interviewed.
Yeah, these are real people.
Like, this what happened.
This couple really lived. They. In Massachusetts, wasn't it Mass?
For the Conjuring?
Yeah, these two.
Yeah. Oh, you mean the people Vera Farmiga, the Warrens? Yeah, those are real people.
Yeah,
the wife is still alive. The husband actually did the wife.
They live somewhere in this area too, right? In the Massachusetts
I think so.
Area?
Yeah, I think so. The husband recently passed away. I think the wife is still alive, unless she recently passed away. Yeah, they some people say they're con artists, and some people really believe that shit. I think they still do stuff today if you look up videos. And if you see the Annabelle doll is completely different. Like there is a real Annabelle doll. But it looks more like what is that? The red kind of spaghetti hair doll? Like what is that? A Susie Q doll or something? I forget.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go back and rewatch the first one and watch them all again because I haven't watched them yet, so I want to see them.
The Nun movies and Annabelle Creation, which is the second one, those are prequels to all the Conjuring movies. So yeah, I would rewatch them, man. I mean, that's the thing. These jump scare
I gotta
movies,
watch them, yeah.
These jump scare movies, as much because it was very hard for me to get into those too. I was like, man, these are just they're so easy to kind of see coming. And
80% of them are shit, but the ones that
now it's like we got
story above it.
You know what I mean? Right. But there's some really good ones. And I wanted to say this because I forgot, but there was a incredible scene in this, which I hate that they showed this in the trailer, but the scene with the magazines. So we see this coming. We know there's going to be a scare coming here, but the way that this is shot, Michael Chavez did a fantastic job with the camera.
It's in the intro, and
Slow
you see her looking at it, and
we
then
don't
she
see
looks
the whole scene, obviously.
right, and then she looks away, and then when she looks back, the thing comes out and grabs her. And I mean,
so obviously, this is a very slow scene, and I thought it was
Right.
done so well, man. And you see the pages flipping very slowly, and then she hears something down the alley. She looks, and the camera pans to the down the alleyway, and then it slowly pans while she's turning her head back towards the magazines. But how slow that it pans, and
Right.
it's such a wide angle. I thought that was fantastic because you don't know when the scare is coming exactly, and
Right.
they kind of trick you because the scare is different in the trailer.
Yeah,
The scare looks different in the trailer than it is in the actual movie.
Yeah,
which
they
I
definitely
really
try
love.
to. They use the angles to really play up the scares. They really do.
Yeah.
And they come at you from angles that don't typically have a jump scare, and that's when you get hit with a jump scare.
Fuck
so
yeah.
They definitely know what they're doing.
What would be your favorite jump scare in this?
Yeah, probably that scene where she comes out of the board. But you know, any of the scenes like when the girls are looking in,
scene?
Right, but when the girls are looking in, that whole scene where she goes in, and the statue has Michael has the sheet on it like in Halloween.
Yeah,
and you know when you know what's going to be coming, but when's it going to come? And that was a good scene. That was a good scene. Of
yeah,
course,
because when she first walks in too, you see like the head like moving. You're like, oh shit.
And then of course when she opens the door, the girls aren't there anymore. It's Frenchie standing there. It's like Frenchie was there all the time, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Probably sitting in the corner just.
Right. The guy did a good job of that. That reminded me of.
He was great with that.
You know, that reminded me of that scene where the girl goes in and she sees Frenchie in there for the first time. He's making that noise. Reminded me of the fucking scene at the end of Blair Witch when they go to the very last scene where they go in. She looks in and peeks, and there's something standing in the corner with his back to him.
Yeah,
you can barely see it because it's in the dark. It reminded me of that scene.
Yeah, that's a good call. Yeah, hell yeah.
Like I want to go back and watch Blair Witch. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Yeah, I know. We were just talking about that last week, saying I think Robbie said he wanted me to review the Blair Witch. Who is your favorite character between like Taissa and Frenchie? It's tough, man. They're both so different.
I like Frenchie just because the poor guy, you feel for him because
he had a lot more kind of to work with.
He is a nice guy, even though he was specking on some of those young Catholic girls.
Well, yeah, the first one he was a lot more flirtatious, and then in the second one he was like kind of, you see, he's like really trying to be like a good guy, and I was like, like I think they do that because they're like he's possessed, so they want you to feel a little bit more.
Yeah, you're gonna kind of get the idea that he kind of knows he's possessed deep within, and now he definitely knows. But I mean, I like how they do like with him when they go into that right the last time you see him before the end of the movie, that. Like all the area that he's been involved with is all dead. His fucking bushes are dead, everything's dead. And when they come out at the end of the movie, you see his red tomatoes, and he's going up the red tomato thing. And you're thinking, well, you know, he's thinking he's cured, that she saved him. But then after he goes to tomatoes, they do that close up of Taissa, and she's like, she knows he hasn't been saved. She knows something's up.
That's what, like,
so that's a great scene.
This weird look, like she knows, like this isn't over yet. I think she like kind of thinks like, or she has some type of vision that we don't.
Actually, my favorite scene in the movie isn't a scare scene at all. It comes early in the film. She meets the girl that's smoking, her friend there, and then after that she comes in and she's doing just chores around. And she overhears them talking about that time where these people went in this. They don't know it's her. They went in and they talking about the nun. They're talking about everything.
Priest got
killed, and
they said that she went mad.
Right, and you know, they're saying the whole thing that happened in the first nun. They're talking about with no idea that she's listening to them,
or they have no idea that it's her.
they don't know it's her. They're just talking about that thing, and she's
Yeah.
listening to it and has to relive that whole thing. I thought that was a great scene too.
Yeah, that
early in
was
the movie.
great. That was really good. Yeah, what the hell was I gonna say too? The shoot, I forgot now. Oh no, this before we get into the rating, I was very excited that we finally got the confirmation because obviously we talked about Tyus and Vera Farmiga being sisters in real life, and I always said I was like there has to be some connection between them, especially because they both have powers. You know what I mean, to sense things and everything.
Oh, I definitely got that vibe in the first
We
one.
finally got right when the nun is trying to burn Thaisa, we figure out that she is a descendant of that patron saint. She is one of the descendants of the people that got away,
Right.
and that's why she doesn't catch on fire. That's also why she has these powers, and she keeps having these memories of her mother. And they finally say like, "Oh, her mother says you have my eyes" or whatever. And you get a little bit more into Tyus's background, which I like because you get none of that in the first one. And then
Right.
you see they flash like they show like her mom's eyes, they show Tyus's eyes, and then they show Vera Farmiga's eyes. So I was like, awesome, man. So there is some connection. They finally confirm to us because we've never had any. It's just speculation. They finally confirmed that they are there's some way that they are related. We don't know how yet. Obviously, she could be like an aunt to her, like it could, you know what I mean? We don't know yet, but there is a connection, and I love that, man.
Well, I think I saw the end of the first movie where they do that flashback where they're working on Frenchie, the Warrens, that little scene and during the credits of the first movie. They flashed Tyess up in that scene for a second too. So I
don't
go back and watch it. They show her as a young nun. But
that wouldn't be possible because she would be way older. This takes place like 20 some years before.
well, no, she's not there, but they just kind of like flash her picture on the screen for a second.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
that she's there, right?
Well,
But
yeah, if they flash her picture, that
Right.
doesn't mean she's there.
I know. No, I know she's not there, but they get that. I get the vibe from the first movie that they're somehow related. That they
Oh, well,
dropped
yeah,
it.
I'd just be
And now this
it
is
would be
just
dumb if
confirmed.
not because they're
Right.
related in real life
Yeah.
and that, you know what I mean? They look so alike.
Right.
And they have the same powers, you
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
But what would you give this for a rating?
Out of 5 or out of 10?
Whatever you
5.
want. Yeah, we could do
Out
5.
of
I mean,
5,
same thing either way.
yeah, out of 5, I'm going to give this one
I almost wanna
a
start doing out of 10.
yeah. Well, we can do out of 10. But
Really, it's really the same, I guess, so.
yeah. I'm going to go out of 5. I'm going to go a 3.75 for me. I think the first one I would have said was a 3.5 or so, and this one I upset a little bit more. I like more of the story. I like
Yeah.
where they're going with the world building. I like the characters in this one better.
Yeah.
It's just the next evolution of it. So
Right.
who knows? Maybe they'll get to a 4 for me or even above. But right now, I'd say 3.85.
No,
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed both of them.
Yeah. This one, I got to see it twice, and you only saw it once, so that helped me a little bit more.
I might
This
even bump it
probably
up
is
if I see it again.
Yeah, right. This probably is my second this might be my second favorite Conjuring universe movie of all time. I believe it's tough, man, 'cause I'd say The Conjuring 2 is my first favorite, and this would probably be my second, and then third would be Annabelle Comes Home. I think I'm gonna I'd be like if I didn't see it twice, I'd be right where you at 3.75, but I think I'm gonna bump this up to a 4. I really enjoyed this. I really
Well,
enjoyed
I gave it a 3.85 on this one.
8.5. Oh, okay. So 3.85, and I'll give it a 4. I really enjoyed Thaisa in this and some more character development, some background on her. Frenchie was great in this. We got more of the nun, and every scene you get with the nun was so fucking awesome and creepy,
Right.
man. Like
Yeah.
that scene when the little girl is like going down the stairs and she sees like that painted, like the kind of the art painting on the brick, and then you just see like the nun was standing right in front of her and smiling. I looked over to my little sister, and then her and then her mom opens the door, and she's like, "Sweet Erica," and the light
Right.
turns on, and then you just see like the painting of her face, and her mom's like, "Come on, come to class," and I looked to my sister, and I was like, "I think the girl's gonna have to go change her underwear before she goes back to class." like it fucking shit her fucking pants
Mhm.
before she go. Like she just saw
Yeah.
that. But I did really enjoy this movie. I thought it was a definite big step up from the first one. They utilized the nun so much better. And I thought Michael Chavez is, I feel the progression with his movies, and I think he's getting better and getting the hang of it. And he did a
Mhm.
lot better with the jump scares. And they made the nun very creepy, and I loved it, man. I loved every scene that we got with the nun in this, man, and I thought it was great. Yeah, I had fun with it. It was a fun one, and I'm not
Yeah, it
big
was
on
fun.
jump scare stuff either.
Yeah, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing it again. That
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
hopefully, I'm looking forward to a Nun 3 for sure.
Right. I
So
think you'll get it. I
yeah,
hope we
and
get it within 5 years, but we'll get it.
well, the nun made more money than any of the Conjuring movies, more
Right.
money than any of the Conjuring universe movies. The Nun did, so that just shows that the Nun has a big fan base, you know?
Right.
Yeah, and my mom even said she was like, my mom loves the first one. So did my dad. But my dad didn't see the Nun 2 with us. It was just my mom and my brother and my siblings. And my mom was like, "Oh my God, I thought the first one was great." She's like, "This was awesome." So some people might not like it, but I really enjoyed it, man. I thought it was great. Good. It was fun theater experience. And I went to see this late at night too. So I thought that kind of added to the creepiness of it. So yeah, 3.85 and a 4. Definitely recommend. And yeah, so I
Yeah, we'll
appreciate
see.
it. Yeah. I will hopefully we'll get another one. We got the Conjuring spin-off show coming at some point, which I'm hoping is going to be about the artifacts of the Warren Room,
Right.
and we're supposed to be getting a Conjuring 4 movie at some point. The strike's going on, so who the fuck knows when and we'll get it. But yeah, as always, guys, we appreciate you coming and hanging out with us. As always, hit that like, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you get notifications when we drop our videos and go live. And as always, we'll catch you next time. Peace out, y'all.
Cheers. Peace out.